Today, we're talking about the need for speed. Need for speed. Underground. We kind of talked about this a little bit in a previous video, the retro games one, which I also know that people don't appreciate that it's called retro for PlayStation 2, but you know, it's kind of old at this point, I gotta say. This is what I grew up with, but there actually was another Need for Speed game before then. Apparently, my family's insisted. We had Need for Speed 2, which came out in 1997. I don't remember almost nothing about that game. Apparently we had it on PC. We played it. That was the one where you would race outhouses, is what we called it. There were like outhouses in the game on one of the tracks that was outdoor. And if you ran into it and slammed it and then just kept pushing it, you would very slowly push it around the track. And so two people could do that and you would race outhouses, not racing cars. You would see who could push yours across. I remember very little of that, but I do know it was a silly time kind of going against the spirit of the game, which is fantastic. One of my favorite things to do is to go against the spirit of the game when we're just having a good time. It's less serious. Everybody has a fun time. What I do remember us playing a ton of was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, which came out in 1998. We played a ton of that one, especially multiplayer, because I specifically remember us having to crowd around one keyboard. Somebody would have arrow keys and somebody else probably had like WASD. I don't remember exactly how that worked, but you would play as a cop and then a racer. Is that what you call it? No, you're a racist. When you race cars, you're a racist. Yeah, that's what it's called. Anyway, that's my history with Need for Speed. It came to the point where we'd played those couple ones and then Need for Speed Underground. I remember this. I paid way more money for this than I should have. As a teenager, we couldn't really afford too many games, and I remember us digging through bargain bins mostly for some of the games that we do have, but this one very specifically, we got this at a Dave & Buster's, and I remember this, and that's how I know I paid way more than retail, because that's just how Dave & Buster's works. You see a game that's 60 bucks or whatever it is, and you're spending way more than that to play games, and I think we saved up over a couple of days of going back repeatedly and putting money and playing all the games and getting that stuff, and then you could get a prize. And usually we do like smaller prizes, that kind of stuff. But I remember us saving up in order to get this one and then taking it home and playing a lot of it. And boy, I was bad at racing. I can't really say I've really gotten all that much better, but I was really bad back then, that's for sure. The things I remember at this game I mentioned before, I'll mention them again here. Being bad at the game was constant. I would just pedal to metal to go and never stop. I didn't understand that you were supposed to slow down to take a turn. I'd never driven a car before, so I didn't understand it. But what came from that was the fact that there were only 2 songs in this entire album, and there was a ton of music on here that I actually could stand. One of them was Little John's Get Low, which I think they had to censor parts of it because I grew up later and learned that the lyrics were different from what I remember them being. But the other one was Crystal Method, Born Too Slow. And that became a running joke. It was we played it. Was it multiplayer? It was 1 to 2 players, but I remember playing single player and my younger sisters going, Crystal Method, Born Too Slow. And if they said that at the beginning of a race, I would instantly wipe out and just destroy the car. And I'm pretty sure I just did that anyway as part of it. But we talked about all that before. In the Christmas video that I made, I mentioned that I will most likely be playing games over the holidays with my family. It seems to be a kind of a tradition that we do. Well, one person, it was over the Thanksgiving actually, one person, I don't remember what we were set up to play. We had downloaded some games and somebody mentioned, oh, we should play a racing game. We haven't played that in forever. All right, let's see what's on Game Pass. And we're looking, and here's the thing. I've tried other games over the years because this game specifically made me go, oh, I like racing, even though I'm terrible at it. And I'd play Forza. I would play, I think it was a game called Project Cars. There were all kinds of games, but I never thought about Need for Speed. And you can see who it's made by. Game Pass has EA Play as part of it. So we all have Game Pass. We all play on Xbox. We can do that. And now there's some EA games, and there's some Need for Speed games. We went into one, and this is where I'll start switching over and turn on the Xbox. There actually are a few Need for Speed games on here. If we go look at EA Play under here, and we go down to N for Need for Speed, you can see there's actually a couple. There's other ones that I've never played. I can't see the full titles on those. This is the one that I'm interested in. Okay, so we started with Unbound. It's the newest one that's there. It's the newest thing that came out. It was pretty fun, but the problem is that you can't play with 8 people, and we had all 8 people ready to go. So we didn't wind up playing this one very much. We started it, we played for maybe 10 minutes, realized that we weren't going to all be able to get into a party together, and quit. But it was kind of fun. They made it like animated, the smoke. It was almost like cartoony. So instead we went for Need for Speed Heat, which is what we're going to talk about the rest of this video. However, I did notice this is also a thing, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. So I got to play that at some point. I got to relive that, see if I can't get some of the siblings to pick that up with me, and maybe we can recreate some of the old times. But Need for Speed Heat. This game. I didn't expect it to take up as much time as it did. Typically, when we play over the holidays, we pick a game, we start playing, we stop playing, and then we never go back to it. And it's just kind of a throwaway tip situation. We're just having fun. We're going against the spirit of the game, like I talked about. Typically not going into it and trying to beat the game. Usually there's a couple of us who are more excited for it, but for the holidays, we just have a fun time, regardless of what we're doing. And so we start picking up this game, and we start playing this game. I played this game a fair amount. Almost there with the achievements. There's one left. It's reaching the max crew rank, which we are real close to doing. There's a fair amount of time put into this game, a lot more than I expected. This game's great. This was a lot of fun, and it made me realize what I didn't like about the other games. I didn't ever think about it, because I'd pick up a Forza or Project Cars, or, every iteration would come out, and if it goes on Game Pass, I'd be like, yeah, I'm in the mood, let me try to race a car. And I realized what I didn't like about all those was that they were more racing simulators. You go off the track, it resets you, or it penalizes you in some way. You can do whatever you want in this game. Need for Speed's awesome. Why did I stop playing Need for Speed so many years ago? I don't know. But it was so much fun and so good. We got into it, and then we were just playing it constantly, like 5, 6 of us all the time. We just have to max out that crew rank left, but could you not? I'm talking. Hey, rude. So I've got a bunch of different cars I'm going to look through here. I don't have too much for this video. We're going to keep it short. But so you start out with like a Ford Mustang, and then no, I didn't go for that one next. I'm pretty sure my second car was a Lotus. So you get a lot of customization. That's really cool when you could do a lot of customization in the game. And the skins, some people already have. They've got, a Nissan Fairlady. Like, that's good stuff. Some of them were from... Yeah, I customized this one, made it all chrome. That was one that came with it. This is actually the fastest game in the... This is actually the fastest car in the whole game. The Koenigsegg Regera. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, the Keurig. I knew that word, and so I just did that. It's a lot of fun. Some of the other ones in here. Yeah, I used the Mazda in order to do some of the drifting stuff. Alfa Romeo, I've always been a fan of the way that this is. I made one purple. I thought that was really cool. The Land Rover. Oh yeah, I made this one look like a police car so that I could... It's called Need for Speed Heat. When you're out there, you race during the day or you race at night. And when you race during the day, the police aren't too bad. They typically don't bother you. But when you race at night, that's illegal. No nighttime racing. And so the cops come after you. And it's really difficult. So when I got to a point where I was a high enough level and my cars were really powerful, I actually built this so that I could help out the lower level family members who hadn't gone as far, who hadn't been putting in the time. I could go, and while they were getting chased, I would run up and smash into the police cars and either destroy them or pull the heat off of them and then just zip away in this thing, or, one of my other cars. Yeah, I really liked what I managed to do. The carbon matte on this thing. I never wound up messing with this. Oh yeah, gotta have a gold-plated Mercedes. Oh, you can just get ridiculous with it, like I did with the Chevrolet, and made it green. Look at it. So you can customize it a lot. Some of them were skins that we just pulled off that other people had done. Some of them were ones, oh man, the Viper. You talk about that. I made it disgusting looking, but I really like the Viper. I got some others. What was another one that some of these I was just unlocking. There's tons more to unlock that I never did. You could get a giant thing. Oh, this was fun. The Mini Cooper. I made this one for Christmas because we wound up playing it Thanksgiving to Christmas. So I did that. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, some of them, you make them look really pretty. The Lotus was the second thing I got to. Yeah, that's right. It says milk all over it because that was our theme for our crew. And then I made a Ferrari and I made it off-road at one point, which was silly. The one that I'm currently going with is the Porsche 911. That's the car that is like the car in this game, because after a while we were trying to look it up. We're just getting busted by the police over and over and over. And I Google and I go, all right, what's the fastest car in the game? What do I need to be working towards so I can avoid the cops? How do I do it? And everyone's like, it's the Porsche 911. You take it, you put this engine in it, you can customize it like this, and then you just blow everything else away. And yeah, it's extremely fast. This is the car that I spent the majority of the time playing in. I've slapped a different skin on it right now that someone else created. But like, oh yeah, just slamming through billboards. That's one of the collectibles. Slamming into traffic. Anyway, it's been a ton of fun. It was a surprise game that I did not expect to just grab like we did. And you saw how many hours I put into it. Whatever the math is, that it works out like 80 something hours. We're so close. We got to max out the crew rank. That's the next thing to do. I load it up whenever possible. You only get crew rank at night, so you got to go do police racing, and then the cops are after you. I was working just yesterday. I spent some time. I was like, oh, I got 30, 40 minutes. Let me run through. And I do a bunch of races in a row, and I've racked up like 1,000,000 rep, which is a decent amount. That would be enough to level the crew up. And then I get busted, and I went, I'm done, and just turned off the game. So that's how it goes. It goes between that. And I didn't have too much for this video specifically besides, hey, this is really cool. It's something that I like, it grabbed us. It reminded me that Need for Speed was great and what I really liked about Need for Speed. It's been quite some time since, you know, I played a Need for Speed game, and I don't know why. It's so good. It was so much fun. So like I said, I don't have too much here to talk about with this one specifically. It was just a really fun time. It was unexpected. I forgot how much I like Need for Speed and why I like the freedom of what Need for Speed is, as opposed to the seriousness of another game that's more like a racing simulator. This is just fun. Yeah, if you mess up and you go off the track, you can completely ruin everything, but it was so much fun, and it was really fun as a group. I'm trying to grind out, there's only 2 of us left who are still playing this game now, a month and a half later, who are just trying to grind out that so we can finish it and call it complete. It's going to take a while to hit that max crew rank, but every so often I'll boot it up, probably once a weekend at the very least, and, you know, try to get like 1,000,000 rep or something like that, do a couple races, just slowly tick away at it to the point where we can get that achievement. That's what's left. But it was an unexpected grab, that it would just be, this is so much fun, and we would just grab it and run with it. Getting all of the challenges, doing all the stuff in the game, the collectibles that are in the game, there's a lot. Like, I did everything, but it was not easy. To get all of them. Look at the amount of collectibles that are in here. I think it should actually, if I go out here, you can see, oh, if you can read those tiny little letters, there are tons and tons throughout everything throughout the game. Look at all of the icons. Some of them are drifting, which was not easy. I don't know how to drift very well. Some of them were speed traps, which were not easy because you're having to go at like 200 miles an hour in your Keurig car and not hit traffic. Some of them are collectibles, so you're just going all over the map collecting flamingos and spray paint tags, and it was unexpected. It was meant to just be a throwaway game, and then I've almost 100%ed it, which I was not expecting, but it was a lot of fun. And there's one more thing that we'll end the video with, because like I said, I didn't have too much to talk about here. It was just a fun time, something that grabbed me and I put like 80 hours into without expecting it. But there is a fun thing that Xbox does, which is you can record a clip of what just happened, and it gives you like the last 30 seconds. So I've got a pretty good amount of clips of some interesting moments throughout the game, and I'll do a little montage here. think it goes without saying, but Need for Speed is something that I like.